Definitely. Thanks, Dreams. I'm going to just share my screen so that I can show you a few different things. I've got a little PowerPoint to just talk about a few different topics, as well as I'm going to just dive right into how we look for flips and working together with investors to find flip properties that actually make sense. So I'm Hugh, by the way. Just a little bit about myself. I just wanted to tell you, a little bit about who I am and what I'm about. So I love sports. I love fitness. I grew up playing ice hockey. I'm born and raised here in Vancouver. And at the beginning, I bought my first property at the age of 19. And as soon as I did, I fell in love with real estate. And ever since then, I've just been soaking up information like a sponge. So when I got my first property, the next thing I wanted to do was, okay, how can I get some more money to buy my next one? So my brother and I partnered up. He's got a lot of construction background knowledge that we kind of utilized together as a team and started getting into the flipping background. After that, I was like, well, if we're going to start doing flips, why don't I get my license? That way we can sell our own deals. As soon as I got my license, I met Devin from the Edmonton team. He introduced me to James, and been on the Mogul team and in the Mogul environment ever since. And now I'm a full-time agent, and I love my job every day. It's great. And that's a little bit about me. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, hold on, just trying to get on to the next slide here, about flips. So the four main profit centers with flipping houses are your purchase price, transaction fees, cost of construction, and cost of finance. So utilizing these four pillars can really make an impact on how you flip properties. So having a Mogul agent is going to be super beneficial for you because we love to negotiate and get you a really great deal. So if you can negotiate on your price a little bit, that's really going to help your numbers at the end with your ROIs. Transaction fees, so lawyers, notaries, realtor fees, you can sell privately. There's different ways that we can work with you to make sure that you can save some money on getting your transaction fees down to a minimum. Cost of construction, the best way to save a lot of costs on your construction prices is doing a lot of the work yourself. So if you're not very construction savvy, definitely you're going to have to hire some contractors. But if you know how to, use a paintbrush and, swing a hammer a little bit, you can definitely save some money on construction costs as well. And then finances as well, speaking with, Keaton or somebody that can definitely get you some great financing really will make a huge impact on your ROI numbers. I'm going to dive straight into how I found this flip and show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to open up Paragon. This is how we look on MLS for properties. So first thing I do is I choose location. Everyone knows tried and true in real estate, location, 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 right? So what I did when I started to analyze to look for a few different flips, I said, okay, what's the best location where I can flip a property and see some appreciation, see some attention from other families and homeowners, right? So for me personally, I like Coquitlam because Coquitlam's growing. They got the SkyTrain straight through there. They got really close access to the mountains for hiking in the summer and skiing and snowboarding in the winter. Other parts of town that I looked into was also in Surrey. Surrey is a fast growing population, and by 2040, they actually plan to be more populated than downtown Vancouver, if you didn't know. As well as from Surrey all the way down Fraser Highway, they're planning to extend the SkyTrain all the way down to 208 in Langley. So I kind of drew something along the lines like this and looked for some properties in all three of these key locations. So again, location, location, location is the best thing to keep in your mind when you're looking for properties. The next thing I did is I looked at the price points. So average, homes, if you're looking under $1 million, there's usually going to be a reason for it. So what I did is I started with 900,000 as my top budget frame. And then I stopped at, 700 so that I'm not looking at trailer parks or anything like that. Right off the bat, between those three locations, I got 7 properties. I could definitely filter in if I was looking in more locations between bedrooms and bathrooms. I could look at number of kitchens if I want a property with a suite. I could look at lot size. I could look at square footage. Those factors are really important. But at the same time, I've only got 7 results out of those locations. So I don't really need to add anything more because I'm going to get a lot less results in terms of that price point. So what I did is I've got these results here right away. And the property that I'm actually going to talk about that made the most sense out of those 4 locations is this one here in Coquitlam. And this property is great. So I crunched the numbers, which I'll show you in a little bit here on my spreadsheet. But I just wanted to show you, a couple of the pictures of the place. It's very cool, you know, heritage style look of the house, which I thought was really cool. And then on the inside, it is very cookie cutter, all original. You know, it's got green walls, it's got shag carpets, and you know, there's no updates to the house other than the furnace when I called the agent just to find out what else needed to be done that is not just cosmetic. Because you know, when we do flips, yes, we're going to do mostly cosmetics, but we want to make sure that things are in order and the roof isn't falling apart, and we need to add in an extra, you know, big cost to do those kind of things, right? So here's the property that I chose to analyze. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's in Coquitlam. I'll show you a little bit here on a map of whereabouts it is. So as you can see here, you know, we've got the SkyTrain city center of Coquitlam, not far from here. We've got a secondary school close by that's super attractive for tenants or people that want to grow their family and look at buying a home. Those things are really what we look for when you want to buy and flip a property is, again, location. We want to make sure that when we go and we finish our renovations, we're going to make sure that we're in a good area that's going to actually sell. So the next thing I did is I kept that same criteria and I put in sold properties. So now that I know the property I want to buy, I want to look at sold. Now, because I have a lot of other locations in here, it's going to give me a lot of properties that are sold. So I went back in here. I'm going to take out my 2 map searches that are in Surrey and in Langley once it decides to load. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out Surrey. I'm going to take out Langley. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back here. And then what I did after that is I took my subject property and I took the square footage of the property. I also took the, I took the lot size of the property, the square footage of the property, and all of the information that I need to make sure that what I'm looking at is going to have that. So what I did is I found the subject property that had the same square footage and broke it all down. So what I'll do here is I went the same as my subject property, which is 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom on both of those. My subject property lot size is, which I probably just lost it. So give me one quick second here while I pull it up. So here's our subject property, our lot size 3,500. So I went about 1,000 in each direction for the lot size. So if it's 3,500, I'm going to go 3,000 less than my property, and I'm going to go 4,000, so 500 in the upper direction as well. So now we're down to 7 properties. There's our lucky number 7 once again. So I did that in Coquitlam, and basically it's going to show us all of the properties that have been sold in the area that of my subject property I want to flip. And then I need to compare it also with, you know, it being a new property. So I've gone through all of these, and the property that I selected was, just give me one second here. Oh, all right, well, we're having a little bit of difficulty with that. So just give me one second here. After we do all that, we're going to find our subject property. So I made myself, in case I have a technical difficulty with Paragon, I've got it right here. So I'll just show you what this property looks like. So it's going to have a 4,300 square foot lot. So because of the comparables that I did, I had to get a little bit of a bigger lot, but I wanted something that was 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and was also in the same neighborhood. So on my PowerPoint, I'm going to show you on the neighborhoods. This property is actually 3 blocks away, and it was also sold in 2019, and it still made sense with the numbers. Now the market's obviously increased over the last 2 years, so I've also factored that into my numbers as well. So we can take a look at this property and see the after they've done the renovation. So as you can see, they've done a really nice job. They've done pretty much white on every wall and all the things in the kitchen. But again, this property looks amazing. It looks great, and I'm sure they got a great price for it. So this property sold for 1.156. They listed at 1.7. And this again was in the end of 2019. So again, the market has definitely climbed a decent amount, especially after the summer we just had. And so realistically, how I'm going to compare these properties, like I said earlier, was lot size, location, and square footage. So our property, again, I'll show you now onto my PowerPoint how I ran these numbers. So here's our subject property. So 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, the living space, 1,300 square feet, lot size 3,500, location is in Coquitlam, and it's right now active, still on the market for $899. The subject property that we just looked at is this blue box right here. And the property that's still in the market that I used for the flip is literally about 3 blocks away. So that's another important thing that we want to look at when we look at flips is, we want something that's close by. We don't want something that's across the highway in a different part of town that maybe just matches our square footage and our lot size, because it's a totally different market in different parts of the neighborhood. So we've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, same as our property. It's got a little bit more square footage and a little bit more of a lot size. So we're going to factor those in as well. But again, location 3 blocks away. It's a very good comparable and the best one that I could find. So it sold in the end of 2019 for 1.156. And I used a very conservative number of a 3% inflation over the last 2 years. So again, we want to be conservative because even if when we're conservative and the numbers make sense, we know that by the end of the day, we're going to look all right at the end of the day. So the market gap, right? So we can sell the property that we are using as comparable for 1.255 with the increase of the 3% inflation. We're going to purchase the property we want to flip at $899. And the gap between the buy and the sell, we're looking at $326,000 of market gap between the two properties. So the cost of renovations, again, I'll show you on the spreadsheet, but here's the things that we put into the property in terms of costs for the renovation. So we're going to have demolition, we're going to hire some laborers, we're going to have a skilled tradesman, and we're going to have to get rid of all the stuff we're ripping out of the house. So keep in mind, you want to do a renovation. When you do your demolition, you want to get everything out of there from day one. The last thing you want to do is have little pieces of drywall kicking around and some, random nails on the floor that you end up stepping on and cause an insurance claim. So when you're doing demolition, again, like I was saying earlier, if you want to save costs and you want to, swing a sledgehammer for yourself, make sure you do it in a right way where you keep yourself clean, and then you don't have to, circle back and do an extra half a load of, recycling. Other costs for renovations are flooring, tiling, and paint. I called a local contractor, a few different ones, just got some rough estimates on terms of getting those costs. And then, of course, appliances and countertops for the kitchen and the bathrooms, and then the siding. Now, to be honest, I loved the look of this outdoor property. It looked really great. And of course, you want to also just factor in those costs. And then if you don't use them, it's just a little extra icing on the cake at the end. So our subject property we want to flip, listed just under 900,000. The comparable sold, we're looking at 225, sorry. And all of our rental costs, we're looking at about $5,300 because it's a fairly smaller house. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And then of course we want to reserve fund about a $25,000, maybe $30,000 for a little bit of room buffer. So that's a little bit about the backgrounds of flipping. So I hope everybody got value out of that. I want to thank you for your time to listen to me explain how I've gone through flips. If you're looking to get into flips, I'd definitely be love to help you, or anyone on the Mogul team definitely has experience, and looking forward to speaking with you guys at some point in the future.